During a job interview, the interviewer meticulously examined the application form filled out by the prospective employee. He noticed something interesting and slightly unusual in the application. This piqued his curiosity. Looking up from the form, he addressed the candidate who sat expectantly across from him. "I see under application here that you've indicated ASAP as the date you're available to start working with us," he said, pointing to the specific part on the form. "That's quite clear and straightforward. However, I'm a bit puzzled by something else." The interviewer's gaze then shifted to another section of the form in the salary expectations area. "You written down AMAP. I have to admit I'm not quite sure what that abbreviation means." The job applicant replied, "That stands for as much as possible." A young and ambitious business executive was just about to finish his work and leave the office late in the evening. As he was gathering his things, he noticed the chief executive officer, CEO of the company, standing by a document shredder. The CEO had a piece of paper in his hand. "This is an extremely sensitive and vitally important document," the CEO said with a sense of urgency in his voice. "And unfortunately, my personal assistant has already left for the evening. Would you be able to make this work for me?" "Absolutely," responded the young executive. He approached the shredder, turned it on, carefully fed the paper into it, and pressed the start button. The machine whirred to life, taking the document into its jaws. "Outstanding work. I really appreciate your help," said the CEO. "I just need one copy." A construction site supervisor was dealing with 10 workers who were known for being lazy. He wanted to find a way to get them to do some work. So he came up with a clever idea to motivate them. One day, he gathered all the workers and said to them, "Today I have a really simple task, and it's perfect for the laziest man." Here he had asked, "Who among you is the laziest man? Show me by raising your hand." Hearing this, 9 of the workers quickly raised their hands. The supervisor looked around and noticed that one worker hadn't raised his hand. This worker was just standing there doing nothing as usual. Curious, the supervisor asked this worker, "Why didn't you raise your hand like the others?" The worker replied, "Raising my hand seemed like too much effort." A manager found himself in a tricky situation when he was caught in an elevator that had stopped working between floors. He tried to get someone's attention by making a lot of noise. Fortunately, after some persistent banging, he was able to draw the attention of people outside. Once they realized he was stuck, they asked for his name and assured him that help would be on its way to get him out of this uncomfortable position. The manager waited as he stood alone in the elevator. As time passed, he checked his watch frequently, counting the minutes and in the hours. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the elevator mechanic arrived. It took some time for the mechanic to diagnose the problem and then carry out the necessary repairs to get the elevator moving again. The manager felt a great sense of relief when the elevator finally started moving and reached his intended floor. Stepping out of the elevator, he quickly made his way back to his office. When he reached his desk, he found a note left by the secretary. It read, "The elevator people called and will be here in 2 hours." There was a store owner who felt really upset because a new store just like his opened right next to his shop. This new store put up a big sign saying best deals. Then the store owner became even more unhappy when another store opened on the same street. This store had an even bigger sign that said lowest prices. The store owner started to worry a lot. He thought his store might not do well. With these 2 new stores attracting all the customers, he wondered what he could do to make his store stand out and attract customers too. After thinking for a while, he came up with a smart idea. He decided to put up his own sign, but he wanted it to be different, so he put up the biggest sign of all of his store. This sign read, "Main entrance." On his very first safari adventure in the jungle, a visitor from America felt extremely sure of himself and his ability to deal with any kind of tough situation that might come up. He approached the local guide who had a lot of experience in navigating the jungle and said with a bit of arrogance, "I've read that if I have a torch with me, it will keep the lions away." The guide, who had heard many things from tourists before, nodded and responded, "That's correct. However, it really depends on how quickly you move with that torch."